The best way to get better at programming is to practice. And in this example, we want to work through a list, but instead of seeing every element, we want to only modify the odd elements. So if you want to see how I do this, you can always use that link provided in the description below to download this sample file and try it on your own, or you can follow along, or you can write it on your own and then check your answer. All right, so let's get started. We got a main function here. We have a list of numbers, and we're going to print them out initially. That's because we want to have something to check against at the end to see if we got it right. Now, there is more than one way to do this. I'm going to show you two separate ways of doing this. So the first of which is I'm going to use a for loop. Now, a for loop is not what you might normally think because we don't get an index with our for loop. But I'm going to show you a little trick. I'm going to say for I in range, and I want to start with some numbers. So I'm going to say starting at 1 because we want to start with our odd values. And then we're going to say what our stopping point is. So this is the length of numbers. And then we want 2. This is every other one. This is the step. So we start at element 1, we go into the length of numbers, and we do every other one. Numbers at I is equal to 0. And that's all we should have to do. Now we're going to say print numbers, and I'm going to run this. And if you look at this, the first element, index 0, that's an even number, is still 23. The second number, index 1, that's an odd index, is 0. And this goes through a whole thing, including my very last element, which is an odd value. So this was the odd index. Remember, odd indexes, not necessarily odd numbers. This is probably one of your faster and easier ways of doing it. But let's go ahead and comment this out. And I'm going to show you another way. So I'm going to create an index variable, set it equal to 0. I'm going to say while index is less than len of numbers. So this is the size of our list. If index modulus 2 is equal to 1, this is going to check to see if index is odd. Numbers index equals 0. And then outside of our if statement, but still inside of our while, we'll say index plus equals 1. We can run this. You notice it provides the exact same answer just like you would expect. Now, you might look at this and go, ooh, could I modify this just a little bit more to be a little bit more efficient? You bet. Let's see how to do that. Well, we're going to start off with index at 1. This way we know we're dealing with an odd number. I'm going to get rid of this if statement because we know we're at 1. Now, the problem is, once I got rid of that if statement and move things around, you notice I have numbers at an index, but then I have index plus equals to 1. Well, that means I'm going to get odd numbers and even. So I'm just going to change that to be 2. This way we go every other one. Now, if I run this one more time, you notice it provides the exact same answer. It technically is going to do a little bit faster because I don't have all those if statements to check for. So this is a slightly better answer, very similar to the way that we did the for loop actually, by starting at 1 in our range and then using a step of 2. So both of these work, and they work for no matter how big the length of our list is, which is a great thing about it. If you like that and you want to continue to get better at programming, please consider subscribing to the channel.